By way of introduction, my name is Father John Hollowell, and I am one of the pastors, along with my best friend, Father Jonathan Meyer, of the 4 parishes here in Dearborn County, Indiana. We are the co-pastors of All Saints Parish, and then we are also pastoring together St. Teresa Benedicta of the Cross in Bright, and then St. Lawrence in Lawrenceburg, and then also St. Mary's in Aurora. As Father Meyer mentioned right before Mass began, we have a beautiful first-class relic of Carlo Acutis up here. And why is Carlo Acutis so important? He recognized that his generation was falling away from the Catholic Church. The number one reason was because his generation saw that science, or believed that science in Catholicism were completely contradictory. Along with, that's also the number one reason that your generation leaves the Catholic Church. And so Carlo Acutis recognized something that would help bring his generation back. What did he do? He cataloged all the different Eucharistic miracles and created a website. And what happened with all these different Eucharistic miracles, they've always been able to kind of determine the blood type. That's been around for hundreds of years, I would estimate. So all the different blood tests that have been done, all the same blood type on these different Eucharistic miracles. But over the last decade or so, medical science has really taken off and exploded even more rapidly. So they've been able to do DNA tests on these different Eucharistic miracles. What did those DNA tests prove? First of all, heart tissue. Every single one, heart tissue. And not only that, it came from the part of the heart that pumps blood to the rest of the body. That's amazing. And I'd just like to, Pope Francis actually also just recently sent a sample to an atheist scientist in Italy. And he asked him just to look at it under a microscope and to just tell Pope Francis what he saw. So the atheist scientist did, and he said, this is from a heart tissue that pumps the blood to the rest of the body. But he also found something really interesting. He said, there are white blood cells in this sample. Now, why is that interesting? Well, white blood cells are only present in the heart when the heart is under distress. And not only that, but white blood cells, when you die within about 3 minutes. So the first part of your body that dies when you die is your white blood cells. This was from 700 years ago, and there's still white blood cells in that sample. That atheist scientist converted to the Catholic Church. When we receive the Eucharist, we are literally receiving the heart of Jesus. It's been proven by science. We're receiving Jesus' heart. That's how much he loves you. When I was in the seminary, I'll end with this. When I was in the seminary, I pretty quickly made a prayer every day. I'm a guy that likes routines. We always went to daily Mass, of course. And so every day that I came back to my pew, there's a really interesting line in the prophet Ezekiel in the Old Testament. It's the 36th chapter of Ezekiel. God tells Ezekiel, I will take from you your heart of stone and give you a heart of flesh. And that was my prayer after I would come back to my pew after every Mass when I was in the seminary. Lord, take my heart of stone and give me a heart of flesh. I had no idea that that's what he was actually doing in the Eucharist. But I do know that now. Thanks be to God that he is giving us, his Son is giving us his very heart every time we receive the Eucharist.